Hello YouTube, Internet, World. Welcome back to another episode of Dime Store Cinema. Let's talk about movies. Today I'd like to discuss the 2016 Walter Hill directed movie starring Michelle Rodriguez and Sigourney Weaver. And right off the bat, no matter what you've heard about this film, no matter what your preconceived notions are, you need to see it if for no other reason than to see Sigourney Weaver pull off Marlene Dietrich level of awesome in a man's suit. Now, I haven't heard anything truly positive about this film yet. The reviews that I've read, even the quote-unquote positive ones, kept on going over and over again about how they could tell that it was low budget and that there were some major problems with it, and they didn't like the action. Me personally, other than the editing and a few choices with reveal, I genuinely like this movie. I might be a little biased because it reminds me of a short story I wrote back in high school, but overall, I thought it was really refreshing to see a genuinely unique and original film. I mean, on the surface level, it's a pretty straightforward and run-of-the-mill revenge story, but they threw in a few things, and I don't know how much of a spoiler I want to give, but it deals with gender bending and expectation bending and that type of thing. I'm pretty sure that it reveals it even in the trailer, so I'm not gonna shy away from the plot because really, I mean, that's the main focal point of the film, is that in order for Sigourney Weaver to get revenge, or to avenge her brother's death, she catches the hitman who kills her brother, performs a sex reassignment surgery on the killer, and then forces the killer to then be a woman. So I'm fairly certain that many of the ideas behind gender and identity, people who are interested and care about that topic probably will be angry at this film because it's not particularly PC. However, the whole entire movie is really interesting in that it blurs the line between gender roles and identity. You know, the Sigourney Weaver's character is the sexual dominant in her relationships and takes on most of the perceived masculine roles that most movies have set aside for men. But she doesn't, and she does it in the typical Sigourney Weaver way, where she just is amazing throughout the whole thing. I mean, she's playing a completely unhinged character, and maybe I would say that that's a problem in the movie because Sigourney Weaver so outshines Michelle Rodriguez that she becomes the focal point of the movie. But the whole movie is kind of told through the perspective of Sigourney Weaver. It kind of goes in and out between Michelle Rodriguez and Sigourney Weaver, kind of telling this story. And going back to Michelle Rodriguez, I think it was great casting. Because Michelle Rodriguez, although an attractive woman, in everything that I've seen her in, she tries her absolute hardest to toe the line of the perceived masculine characteristics, our social expectation of masculinity. She always tries to toe the line in every character I've ever seen her in. That's not a bad thing, but it was fun to see her actually take it all the way to the extreme and play a man who is then surgically altered to look like a woman. It was interesting. But yeah, some of the reviews I read were complaining about the action, and they said that that's where it really looked like it was low budget, and I disagree. I just don't think that it was that type of action film. It wasn't trying to be a John Wick. It was trying to be more of a gritty movie. It kind of reminded me almost of Payback, the Mel Gibson movie from the probably late 90s, I believe. It kind of reminded me along those lines. It was that same type of gritty feel, and I think a lot of that came from Walter Hill, the director. He has been involved with movies like that. He did Last Man Standing is the one that comes to my head right now, the Bruce Willis movie, and that was a lot of fun too. But you know, so I don't think that the action was a sign of it being a low budget film. I just think that it was a different kind of action. It wasn't going for the big over the top action. It was going for a more subtle, gritty, I don't want to say realistic, but more realistic than what you'd have in most big action films. But yeah, I will say that the acting overall is a little over the top, but in a story like this, and the setting that it's in, and the universe that it lives in, I think that that's almost necessary. But you know, I don't think this is a movie for everyone. I don't think a lot of people will like it, just because it's subject matter and the way that it deals with its subject matter. So on one side, you'll have the people who are offended by the subject matter itself. You know, a man being changed to look like a woman. But then you also have the way that it deals with that, you know, dealing with identity being more of the mind than it is of the body, which, you know, I think a lot of people can agree with. The whole premise, the come to Jesus moment, if you will, for Sigourney Weaver, is to realize that it's not the body that makes Michelle Rodriguez's character a man. It is the mind of Michelle Rodriguez that is the man, and regardless of what you do to the body, she will continue to be a man. So it was I conceptually, I think that's interesting. Like I said, very similar to a short story that I wrote back in high school. So maybe that's touching on the depth of this movie. You know, you shouldn't be watching this movie for a deep philosophical film. I mean, the smartest person in the room, Sigourney Weaver, the pull that she draws from is Shakespeare and Poe, which, sure, you know, that's a sign of education, but they're very sophomoric levels of education to draw from. And that's kind of what this whole movie is. It's not particularly deep. It's just interesting, and that's why I liked it. I liked it because it was different. I liked it because it was interesting, and I really loved seeing Sigourney Weaver in the suit. Like I said, it reminded me of Marlene Dietrich, and it was wonderful. But yeah, no, see, like I said, I don't think this movie's for everyone. If I was to rate it, I probably wouldn't rate it that, maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's average as far as filmmaking goes, but I liked it for its originality. You don't get that much more. You don't get that much anymore, which is a shame. Thank you all for watching. Please like, please subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.